Welcome back to pregame.tv. NFL playoff action Sunday. San Francisco 49ers travel to play Seattle. Brian, I got to tell you, as far as forget the fact that this is what we do for a living, we bet all the time. I want to be a fan for just a minute, and I couldn't have asked for four better teams for this week because I wanted to see the rematch, round 3 of San Francisco, Seattle, so bad because, and we'll talk about that in a second. But then who doesn't want to see Peyton Manning and Tom Brady go at it? And, we don't have a play on that game here on the videos, but just a quick note, as far as Manning and Brady go, I want to ask you, if Manning loses to Brady on Sunday, does that tarnish his image?
No. All these people talking about, the guy's had a terrific career. I mean, it's an entire team, and it's not like Denver's not scoring. I mean, the defense isn't very good, and they're missing some of their players. So if they lose this game, chances are it's because of the defense. But
the talking heads love to make it that Peyton Manning has more to lose with this game.
It goes back to when LeBron was playing for Cleveland. He's not a great player because he won a championship. Well, all of a sudden he wins a championship, and now he's the greatest player ever. I mean, he's the same player as he was in Cleveland, just a little bit older. He's been a great player his entire career.
Absolutely. All right, I'll get off the soapbox now. We'll go to this game.
Soapbox, thanks you for that, by the way.
All right. Love this guy. You look at San Francisco, and I got to say that, as far as coming in as a wild card, this may be the greatest, I don't want to say the greatest, but one of the best all time. Maybe top 5.
That's what greatest means.
Well, top 5. We'll put them in the top 5. Best wild card teams that we've had in the playoffs. This team is very good. And right now, they're playing the best football of anybody in the league. They're 4 points away from a 15-game winning streak. They lost by 1 to Carolina at home, and then that 3-point loss at New Orleans where nobody wins in the Superdome. And I kind of think they got jobbed on that controversial call at the end. Plus, I had San Francisco, but I did cover by a hook, so I didn't need it. But I still think they got jobbed on that call. This team could be looking at a 15-game winning streak. Yeah. And then what would we be talking about this team?
It's interesting because, what was it, 2 months ago, I'm doing radio with Steve Fezzik. Steve has a tendency to make bold predictions, and he said that San Francisco was going to win the Super Bowl. And, of course, we probably had one of those bets that he never pays, and I told him he wasn't going to win it because there's no way they were going to win in Seattle. And here we are, and one of us is going to look pretty good out of this. And if San Francisco does win, I give him all the credit in the world because he called it early. But, you talked about this being a rematch. Normally you get excited for rematches when the prior games were close. These first two games were knockouts. Seattle just knocked San Francisco out.
Not the second meeting.
Well, in this stadium.
The last 2 years.
Last 2 times in this stadium. And when I saw that line come out at 3 originally, I said, that 3's not going to be there any longer, so I had to play it. Not knowing which side I was going to take in the game, but you just knew you'd never see a 2.5 on Seattle at home. And, at this point, it's sitting in the 3.5 range. But I haven't decided on what I'm going to take a look at in this game, but I know you've got a play on this.
Yeah. And let's talk about that just for a second so that the public can know about numbers and being a professional sports bettor. When you saw the number come out at 3, everything in your bones told you that 3's not going to be there. So no matter which side you like, you're grabbing the 3, you're laying the 3, knowing that you're always going to have the opportunity to come back and lay it back at 3.5, for whatever happens with the game. But that's what people do that do this for a living, and people don't understand chasing the numbers down. And, you'll drive, you'll go all the way out to Aliante, which, I haven't been to that casino yet. That's the only one in town I haven't been to. But you tell me it's almost like a day trip.
It's about a 40-mile drive to get there. And, we've gone down to the Wynn, for the openers until some other places have opened up before that now. But, you've got to go in and have your numbers ready, and you've got to just jump on it. Really, my early on, what I do has nothing to do with handicapping. It's getting the numbers, comparing them to my numbers. Then after that, you start breaking it down because you really, if you're betting college football and you're betting the NFL, and now with basketball going on, you don't have the time to handicap every single game a day in advance, a week in advance, that type of thing. So you just got to go off your numbers. And if you trust your numbers, you take a look at that number and you say, well, there's no way Seattle's going to be a 2.5 in this game. Right. It's never going to go to 2.5. So 3 is the best you're going to get on Seattle, and it may go even higher than that. And you can always worry about playing it back. And in fact, the other game being played this weekend was that way too. 6, 6.5, down to 4 in some places, now back up to 6. Even if you don't have an opinion on that game, laying 4, taking 6, sure, I'll take that.
It's almost like a tennis match. The Denver people run in at 4, 4.5. As soon as it gets back up to 5.5, 6, the New England people run back in and they're grabbing it, and it could just ping pong back and forth. We saw that last week with the San Diego-Denver game. I commented to you, and I said it yesterday on the radio show. It didn't, we talk about squares and sharps and getting the numbers. On Sunday, there were times that you could have got both the best number on both teams on the same day. You could have got Denver as low as 8, and by right before kickoff, one of the books in town, South Point, for just a blink, had Denver at 10. As soon as it hit 10, all of the San Diego people jammed it again and brought it back to 9.5. But on game day, within a couple hour span, both teams, you could have got the peak number on both teams.
I'm surprised you brought that game up based on the outcome. We actually, yeah. It may be hard to believe, but actually we go out to eat as the week goes on once in a while. And I was on San Diego at plus the 10, lost the 10, and after I lost the 10, I didn't really have much interest in it. But I still thought the San Diego side was the correct side. You liked the other way. And it's one of those, you had the right side. I got the cash, but you had the right side in that game. Denver played a very good game. San Diego did not do a thing for, 3/4 out of that game. So it's one of those that it's better to be lucky than good, as they say sometimes.
Yeah. But as so many people point out in the forums, I didn't cash a ticket. That's all that matters. I lost. So we'll move on. I'll plead the fifth for the rest of that. This is my free pick, so let's go ahead and make it official. As I said, the San Francisco 49ers are playing the best football in the NFL right now. And as we look at the rematch, this is not the same San Francisco 49er team that we saw in the first 2 meetings. The first meeting this season happened in week 2. San Francisco was coming off the Green Bay game. They didn't have Michael Crabtree, and this was a situation where I think they went into Seattle. Early game, early in the season, ambushed them. Not ambushed. I mean, they owned that field, let's face it. But they weren't at full strength, San Francisco. In the second meeting, San Francisco was able to scratch out a win. They won by 2, laying 2.5. I actually had the 2.5 in that one, laid the 2.5. I remember that one. And San Francisco kind of dominated that game as well. A key turnover inside the 10-yard line would have put the game away. And then Frank Gore broke away for 50 yards and then ran out of gas. It got caught.
He didn't run out of gas. That was a smart play on it.
He slowed down.
Staying in bounds. It's the right way to play it.
All right, Fezzik Jr.
It's the right way to play it. Come on.
But I'm looking now, and you've got full strength for San Francisco. The difference has been since Michael Crabtree came back. When he is in the lineup, what it does is opens everything up for Colin Kaepernick. Because now, who are you going to double team? You want to take away Crabtree? You want to take away Bolden? You got Vernon Davis across the middle. Somebody's going to be open. And when everybody's going downfield, then it's opening up the lanes for Colin Kaepernick to run the football, something that he didn't do all season. And I think it was by design. They didn't want to get him hurt. They didn't have Alex Smith on the bench as an insurance policy this year. But now you're in the playoffs. All bets are off. You got to do anything you can do to win to advance to the next week. Because you lose, there is no next week. So with all that said, you're thinking I'm looking at San Francisco. No, I'm not. I'm looking at the total. And I think this total is too low. They're basing it on the reputations of these teams. And yes, these are 2 of the best defenses in football. But guys, they're not going to go against their strengths. They're going to go against their weaknesses. And the strengths of these teams are they're going to try to take away the run from San Francisco, and Seattle's going to try to run with Lynch. Those teams, both teams know that. They're going to defend for that. So what you got to do is you got to change it up. I think you're going to see the teams throw the ball early, trying to set up the run. Usually that's done in reverse. And what happens so many times in these games, when you do get a quick score early in a game, it changes the tempo of the game. Because if the game starts out slow, then it becomes a field position battle, and then it goes to a snail's pace. I think you're going to see some points early in this game, and I'm going to take the over here. Also, the other thing that concerns me about San Francisco, and it's the only negative that I can really say about this team, because they are the wild card and because they ended the season on the road, this is going to be their 4th straight road game. That's tough for any team, to overcome. But they've got the talent to do it. I still haven't decided which way I'm going to go or if I'm even going to make a play on the game for the side. But I do like the over. I think 39 is too low in this game. I think you're going to see at least 43 or more points in this game. And I'm going to go ahead and say take the over on Sunday in the San Francisco-Seattle game.
Just wanted a couple comments, and I very much understand your reasoning. A couple things to add to it. Number one, now that was San Francisco playing 4 straight on the road. When was the last time Seattle went on the road? Oh yeah, way back to New York Giants, I believe.
Yeah.
So they've been at home for a long time. That may be a big advantage coming this game. But you talked about the situation with San Francisco and all. I think both quarterbacks, before early in the season, they couldn't afford, neither team could afford to have these quarterbacks hurt. Now that it comes down to just one game away from the Super Bowl, would not surprise me if these quarterbacks do a lot more running than what they did during the regular season.
And these guys are capable of making big plays. There's not just run and get 5 yards. These guys can turn a play into a 40-yard play. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this week's videos. We'll be back next week. Hope Ken Thompson gets well soon. We'll see him next week, and then the Tuesday crew will be in next week. I don't know what they'll have to talk about. There's no football, no NFL next week.
They're going to be breaking down the Pro Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Okay, they can have that one. If you're watching, Brady and Fez, you got the Pro Bowl. We called it. We gave it to you. All right, we'll be back next week. We'll have some basketball for you. Good luck this weekend at pregame.tv.
I already know what Fezik's